Welcome to Africa 24, the news platform that puts Africa first. Today we have the privilege of having with us Oliver Alawuba, the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the United Bank of Africa. We'll delve into some key issues, his thoughts on the fair, his insights as the CEO of UBA, and perspectives on the Africa's banking and financial landscape. On Thursday in Riyadh, UBA signed MOU with Saudi XM. What is the partnership about?
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thanks for that question. A few days ago in Saudi, UBA signed an MOU with Saudi XM Bank. The MOU is focused on promotion of trade, export of goods and services from Saudi to Africa and from Africa to Saudi. Then we're also focusing on co-financing projects that will bring economic development to the economies in Africa and also to the Saudi government. You may know that UBA is present in 20 African countries, and UBA is also present in other 4 financial centers of the world. But we are focusing clearly on how we can develop the African economy. And for us to do that, we need to build bridges of economic partnership across Africa and the rest of the world. So the MOU we signed with the Saudi XM Bank is one testimony of how we can build bridges of economic cooperation among regions and to promote Africa in the rest of the world.
So how will the partnership engineer economic cooperation between Africa and Saudi Arabia?
The Saudi government has shown that they are opening up the economy to Africa. And what we have seen, a lot of investment inflows that they are ready to make into Africa in the areas of agriculture, in the areas of mining, in the areas of SME development, in the areas of tourism. And we think that you need institutions like UBA and the Saudi XM Bank that will be able to put into place practical processes on how we can realize this economic collaboration. We think we can co-finance projects. We think we can co-insure, co-guarantee, and reinsure projects that will further activate economic activities between Saudi and African countries. And that's where UBA is under agreement.
So what you are saying is that Saudi Arabia is becoming a sort of new economic and finance frontier in the global space. Can you tell us of UBA's plan for Saudi Arabia?
Our plan really is to really ensure that we have partnerships that will be able to bring in investments into Africa. UBA is positioned to bring Africa to the rest of the world and bring the rest of the world to Africa. We need to ensure we facilitate trade, facilitate investment, facilitate even settlement systems that will make Africans to do business with the rest of the world. So in this particular case, we believe Saudi Arabia has a lot of investments, and it is very eager, the country is very eager to support African businesses. In the area of agriculture, for example, 5% of Saudi food import come from Africa, and we can do a lot if we can ensure that the primary products are processed. And that processing requires a lot of investment to establish manufacturing companies around African countries to process these goods for export. So the MOU we signed will promote export. We promote export of goods and services between the 2 countries. That's the countries in Africa and in Saudi Arabia. And I would believe that we as a bank need to do a lot more to facilitate these transactions between the companies that operate in African countries where we are present and in Saudi Arabia. Thank you.
So UBA is very visible at the AITF by being one of the event's sponsors. What is the bank bringing to the African plate?
Look, this event, for one thing, is showing the strength and the dynamism in the African youths, particularly the SMEs. I've seen a lot of showcase of exhibitions of what African youths can do. And the SME space is one area that holds a lot of promise for the African economies. Recently, in Afrexim annual general meeting in Ghana, UBS signed an agreement with African Continental Trade Area Secretariat for a $6 billion investment in SM in the next 3 years. And what the message is to African youths that it is possible for us, as UBA, to support you, to develop your skills, your talents, to showcase them and develop market for the African youths. So this exhibition by Afrexim is another testimony that there are several support systems available for the African youths.
Can you expatiate on UBA-Afrexim relationships in line with recent agreements reached by the two institutions?
I must commend Afrexim for the level of contributions they are making in several countries in Africa. Afrexim has done quite a lot, very commendable. And Afrexim needs partners like UBA, to enable us drive home the development of Africa at every country, every local government, every council in Africa. So this partnership of Afrexim and UBA is for African development. UBA is passionate about African development, and Afrexim is also passionate about African development. So there's a mix of proper vision and mission that will transform Africa. So this partnership is coming up with several products, coming up with several services that will benefit African people.
Could you comment on any key development or trends you foresee in Africa's banking and finance sector?
It is important, I always say this, that it is important in the African financial industry that we drive inclusivity. And we think that a lot of Africans are not within the financial industry. And UBA is in the forefront of driving this financial inclusivity. We need to get our brothers and sisters to come into the system. And that is important. And we can do that easily through applying digital technology. In addition, we need to build institutions, strong institutions and financial institutions in Africa that can drive even infrastructure development, that can support even our SMEs. I just mentioned earlier about the youths. The youths of Africa have a lot of talents. Those talents need to be supported in order for them to realize their objectives and get fulfillment and then totally develop the economy. So you need an African focused bank that will be able to ensure that these talents from the youths are coming to realization for development of our continent.
You just mentioned SMEs.
Yes.
But how do you define if an SME is bankable or not? How do you define it?
The most important thing is the idea. And underneath that idea is what solution are you bringing to the system? And then once that idea is providing solution to a problem, it is bankable. Africa requires a lot of ideas. Africa requires a lot of ideas that we can generate and make sure we implement and support for our people development.
So what you are saying is that there is financing, but there's not enough good ideas?
What we think is that you need a bank that will be able to look at those ideas, de-risk them, and provide the support required to make them bankable. And you need that financial institution with African mindset that understand Africa. And that's where UBA comes in. We know our way around Africa. Africa is our home. Africa is our vision. So we should be able to look at ideas and from an African mindset, ensure that we support them for them to be implemented for the development of our continent.
Well, UBA, by the recent financial results, has assumed his #1 position. How would you sustain this position? Because we saw that you had so much awards recently.
Well, UBA has done well so far this year. and we believed we will continue to do well even in the years to come. Why do we believe that? Because UBA is a diversified financial institution. We are present in 20 African countries. And in those countries where we are present, we are doing well in terms of taking advantage, making sure that opportunities that we see, we develop, we support, also ensuring that the businesses are contributing to the bottom line. So also beyond Africa, our presence in the United Kingdom, our presence in the United States of America, we've also seen those subsidiaries contributing to our business. Today, we're just discussing now about our MOU with Saudi Exim Bank. And what that does is we're opening up the business beyond Nigeria, beyond Africa, to the rest of the world. And there are huge opportunities for UBA in those countries. So we see sustainability of our performance. We even see that we're going to do a lot more based on opportunities that we see. We had a discussion recently also with Afrexim, and we think the areas of collaboration that we're looking at Afrexim will further enhance our performance in the years to come. So UBA is that bank that will remain in Africa, contributing to Africa development from generation to generation.
Well, talking about perspectives, what role do you envision for UBA in the growth and development of the African economy in the, let's say, next 5 years?
Our name is United Bank for Africa. As long as Africa is the objective, UBA will be there. We will push our African vision to the next level, and we will develop all the partnerships that are required for African development. We will build them whether in Africa, we will build them anywhere part of the world to ensure that we develop these opportunities that we have in all the countries of Africa.
Oliver Alawuba, your insights today have given us a better understanding of UBA's strategic direction, the significance of partnerships, and your commitment to supporting trade across the continent. We appreciate your time and your contribution to the African banking industry. Thank you.
Thank you for having me today.
For more informative discussions and updates on Africa, do stay tuned to our programs on Africa 24. Thank you.